Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is your own teacher, the Gregory gives you an enthralling welcome into another video session of grade 9 time English. In our yesterday's session, we had talked about dialogue. I had gave you two topics to make a plan about that. We had talked about how a writing must be, how a dialogue must be. We had seen a video, we had interacted, we had made guesses about two pictures which were about conversation and all that. I hope that you all remember it. And okay, so without any further ado, let's go. First of all, let's talk about what is a dialogue. Okay, here we have the answer. Dialogue is conversation in a story or anytime something is said aloud. When you write dialogue, you stating a person's exact words. What does this mean? This means that dialogue is somewhat exact words, I would say. If I would say in general that dialogues are exchange of words in the conversation. Dialogues are those sentences spoken by the speaker or the listener when they exchange their thoughts and ideas in conversation. What is the purpose of writing dialogue? There are a lot of purposes. I would say that dialogue writing or dialogue is not only a writing, it is a career, I would say. You must have seen a lot of movies, cartoons, a lot of comic books you must have read. You must have read a lot of novels, as we've read Wuthering Heights, we've read The Hound of the Baskervilles, and a lot of other novels. Everywhere, what we found was dialogue. Dialogue is actually, I would say, a career. Whenever you make a movie, when a movie maker makes a movie and a producer wants to produce it, one of the most important aspects is dialogue. You all must remember at least a dialogue of your favorite movie that you loved. Why? Because the way the dialogue was written or the way the dialogue was delivered makes the movie more interesting or memorable. And just because of that dialogue, you remember the character. It's not only a sentence. It's a very powerful sentence that makes memories, that make hits, that makes money, and that makes your career. So in script writing and in scripting, dialogue plays a very crucial part, I would say. And whenever you're writing a play for your school, or you're going to exhibit at a college or university, wherever you want, you're writing for the movies or something, you're writing a novel, wherever you're writing a story, there are a lot of reasons to write dialogues, because dialogues express your thoughts with expressions. Purpose. Dialogue makes a story more interesting. It can reveal what a character thinks or feels. Yes, as I just said that, dialogue is not only a flat sentence. It exhibits the expression and emotion of the character. Like I would say, Sir Azra scolded the student and said, "Why you all didn't complete the work? You all are supposed to rewrite the work thrice. That's your punishment!" Exclamation mark. That's what when I said that, I had came up with expressions. I had come up with expressions. But what I would say that when you are writing, you have to use interjections. You have to use exclamations to express your ideas and thoughts with emotions. One must not forget that English is a language. It's not a subject. It's a language, and to unify world, to come into the same platform, to make communication a very easy job, English has been taught and has been learned around the globe as a second language, and Pakistan is one of them. That's why in our academia, in our course, English has been added as a very important part, I would say, from here to your masters. You have to study this because all our books are coming in our high school, or for high school universities are coming in English, and everything you're already studying here. So in this all situation scenario, what we forget actually that English is a language, and language has emotions and expressions. So when you write dialogues, you have to come up with expressions like that. Wow, you have done it for not only yourself but for your nation. Wonderful. Your parents will be really proudful for you, like that. It also shows what a character is like. Like if I'm writing some dialogues with rage and anger, so the reader can realize, or the listener can realize, that the character is actually a kind of aggressive man who is a short-tempered man. So by reading dialogues, we can have an idea about the character. So it's as important as anything else. Rules for rules for intending. Rules for rules for indenting. When writing dialogue, start a new paragraph each time the person speaking changes. Very simple. Indenting method, as I told you when I taught you application writing, that you'll skip a line after each thing. Over here, what you'll do, you'll start fresh. You'll start each dialogue in a fresh line. Like Mr. Ansho said to Hinley, why are you not accepting Heathcliff? So Hinley replied, because he's an orphan and he has intervened all of us, like that, something like that. Okay, so example is what writing dialogue, start a new paragraph each time the person speaking changes. This means you must indent. Example, hey, come over here, you all, called Jill to her friends as they got out of the car. Sorry, we're late. Apologize, Annie, to Annie, as she and Martha hurried toward Jill, like that. That's what it is said as. It is said as like, whenever we start something, we'll start it in a fresh paragraph, I would say. And rule for the spoken word. This, you all know this. The speaker's words should be set apart from the rest of the sentence with quotation mark. Like the sentence in which the dialogue has been uttered, the dialogue, the exact word of any character has to be written in inverted commas. Whether it could be a single inverted comma, whether it could be a single inverted comma, or it could be a dual inverted comma, I would say, like this. You can see it over here that this is actually a single dual inverted comma. And don't forget that inverted commas are the pair of commas. You cannot do that, that you'll add a single comma over here and you'll add a dual comma over here. If you've added a single comma here, you're supposed to add a single comma. It's like a pair of commas, okay? So don't ever do it like you have written only one comma over there. So what do? You actually, whenever you write a dialogue, you actually differentiate it. You actually differentiate it from a part of the sentence or whatever has been uttered in inverted commas, which says that this is actually the dialogue spoken by the character. Now, the second rule, rules for punctuation. Begin the first word of the spoken part with a capital letter. You know that. First thing we talked about was start each dialogue in a fresh line. Then we've talked about that the dialogue must be written in inverted commas to set it apart from the rest of the sentences, rest of the conversation. And then over here, it's a very, very important thing that begin the first word of the spoken part with a capital letter. Whenever the dialogue is has been written, like look at that, exclaimed Peter. From look till Peter, it's a whole sentence. But dialogue is from only, which is in inverted commas. This is the dialogue. That is in inverted commas. But the whole from here till here is actually the sentence. So what I would say that whatever is written in inverted commas is a dialogue. So our dialogue will be starting the first word of the dialogue, first letter of the very first word has to be written with capitals, like look at that. So look at that, looks, L is actually in the capitals. Okay, and place and punctuation inside the quotation marks. And very, very important thing, whenever you write something, look at this. This is the inverted comma, which tells that this dialogue has been ended here. And just before that, there is an exclamation mark. If you guys can see over here, there's an exclamation mark. This is it. And what does this exclamation mark tell us? That this is an exclamatory sentence. So you are supposed to place a punctuation, whether it's a question, so you'll add a question mark. If it's a simple statement, you will add a full stop. So in dialogue, you have to start the dialogue with a capital and end it with any punctuation marks according to the nature of the sentence. If a question, add a question mark. If it is a statement, add a full stop. If it is an exclamation, add an exclamation mark. And then close the inverted comma to tell that the dialogue has been ended. Okay. Then we have more rules. A comma separates the speaker text from the spoken words. What does this mean? A comma separates the speaker from the spoken words. The spoken words mean the message. Let's suppose I'm a speaker and I'm telling you that Sir Arthur said, comma, in inverted comma, I would say, I want to teach English for my whole life. So that's what I said. I want to teach English for my whole life is the dialogue. And it was said, who said that? Sir Arthur said, comma. So the dialogue was my spoken words. Okay, separate the speaker. And the speaker was Sir Arthur. So spoken words are always separated from the speaker via a comma. As you can see over here, the doctor stated. Over here, you can see the discolored comma. This is actually that we are talking about. If you have seen over here, the inverted comma is here and over here. So that's what this was actually the dialogue. I think you will feel better soon. Okay, this is the dialogue. But who said this? The doctor is stated. So this is the speaker and these are the spoken words. Dialogues are all with the spoken words and the doctor stated as a speaker word. So what we separate the speaker from the spoken words with the help of this comma. That's what we are talking about. Okay. The patient replied, I hope I will recover soon. The patient replied is actually the speaker and spoken words are, I hope I will recover soon. So there is a patient who had been to his doctor and the doctor stated when seeing the history of the whole history of the patient, the doctor stated, I think you will feel better soon. Like you'll feel better soon. And the patient replied, I hope I will recover soon, like that. That's what had happened over here. Now, move towards the other one. Over here, this thing has to be understood really well. The spoken words are sometimes interrupted in the middle. What does this mean? You'll decipher it later. And the first part of spoken words with quotation marks begin the second with quotation marks. Use commas to separate the spoken words from the tag. What does this mean? Over here, you can see two different dialogues. The first dialogue is actually this one. Do you realize? And the other is that we forgot the draft. There are two different dialogues, and this is the speaker. But the whole dialogue, this dialogue one and this dialogue two, could be written together. Like someone said, do you realize that we forgot the raft? क्या तुम्हें एहसास हुआ कि हम raft भूल गए हैं? That's what the whole dialogue is. But it has been interrupted in the midst. Do you realize, Ascot, that we forgot the raft? So this is intervention. This is the intervention we are talking about. Sometimes it happens that in the midst of dialogues, in a single dialogue, that has been interrupted by the speaker. That's where the interruption comes. So how would you do? You would write a dialogue in inverted comma the way it has been written, add a comma over there, and then you'll end your comma over there. Do you realize? And we have a comma over here as well, if you can see. Let me clear it. There is a comma which says that this thing is actually continue. Do you realize? Now the inverted comma close means that this is a dialogue, a part of a dialogue, but comma tells that it is continue. Ask Dorot that we forgot the raft. Then we have another one. It's too late now. I said we'll have to come back later, like that. It's too late now. I said we'll have to come back later. So the comma says, this comma says that it's in continuous process. It's continue. Okay. So I hope that you all have gotten it. Now I've lined up a sample dialogue for you all, so you'll be able to understand it really well. And it's coming from your very, very favorite novel that we've discussed in our earlier class, and that is, as you can see, it's from an extract from Wuthering Heights, everyone's favorite, written by Emily Bronte. It was a very, very good melodrama, I would say, one of the finest and a classic in English. He had a son, it seems, inverted, single inverted comma. Yes, he had one, he's dead. And that young lady, you can see over here that each dialogue has been written in a fresh line. Okay, he had one, he's dead. And that young lady, Mrs. Heathcliff, is his widow. Yes. Where did she come from originally? Why, sir, she is my late master's daughter. Catherine Linton was her maiden name, and nursed her, poor thing. I did wish Mr. Heathcliff would remove here, and then we might have been together again. What? Catherine Linton? I exclaimed, astonished, but a minute's reflection convinced me it was not my ghostly Catherine. Then I continued, my predecessor's name was Linton. It was. And who's that? Earnshaw, Burton Earnshaw, who lives with Mr. Heathcliff. Are they relations? No, he's the late Mrs. Linton's nephew, like that. That's what I said. I just wanted to tell you that over here in this extract, in this dialogue, we've seen that each dialogue was started in a fresh line,